Good morning, beautiful friends. So lovely to be with you here today. We're going live a little bit earlier today. I'm in Rapid City for my final week at Goldman Sachs, and I put it in my planner like, oh, make sure that you cancel this event. And I thought, no, I'm still showing up for myself in prayer, and I want to show up for you. And so I'm so grateful to be here today. And the sun's not even up here. 6 a.m. Mountain Time, 7 a.m. Central. So I love you so much. And today, through the lens of love, I just want to encourage you to just pause, breathe, and ask, God, how do you see me today? And like get your voice out of the way, get your head out of the way, and listen to your heart. Like actually pause and do this. Yesterday, as I was doing my morning devotional, God put something on my heart that He moves differently when we are all in. Now, I've taught this a lot in my coaching career to my clients, to online sharing content in the past about all in energy, not halfway in, right? Not God help me when I'm desperate in, not toe dipping faith, which is these are all things that I did. That was what my faith was like for most of my life, was like, well, when I really need help or when I really get in a bind, I am like begging Him to get me out of this. I'm like, please, 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 if you get me out of this, if you make me feel better right now, like I won't ever ask another thing in my life. This is how I used to pray to Him. And He just moves differently when we are all in, which is why He's moving so beautifully in my life, because I am all in for Him. And the same thing happens in your life. The same thing happens in your business, right? If you are not all in, and with relationships, you guys, oh my gosh, I've learned this so much. If you're not all in a relationship, and number one relationship, right, after God is yourself. If you don't fiercely love yourself, not like, look at me, everybody, which is how I used to love myself, or I needed people to like me. But it's like, no, Helen, like, God made you. You're amazing. This is beautiful. This life, like just this immense gratitude, everything changes. So the world, your emotions, your thought will move differently when you have all in energy. Same thing with your spouse, with your kids, with your coworkers, right? And you don't have to be like, I'm fully 100% dedicated to you, right? Like you should be dedicated to Him first and then love yourself. But same thing with your businesses. I once heard a woman tell me, yeah, if this business doesn't work out, you can go ahead and do it. She did not have all in energy. Can you imagine like how she felt building that business, how she felt making decisions in that business? And within a few years, that business was no longer, right? She didn't have that belief. She didn't have that all in energy. But I'm talking all in with like your heart, your mind, your spirit, your trust. And that's why it's so important to be intentional with the things that we go all in on, because we try to go all in on like hundreds of thousands of things. Like I'm a manifesting generator, you guys. Like I love all the things and I love to switch and I like to pivot and I get bored easily. And I've had to like work on that to say like, okay, long term, what is my vision? What are my values, so that I can focus on that and go all in on the things that really matter. And so, like I said, for years, my relationship with God was based on desperation, right? I called on Him when something hurt, when something fell apart, when I needed something fixed. And it wasn't that He didn't answer, but I thought He wasn't. I was like, well, I want Him to like, I don't know what I wanted Him to do, like magically snap His fingers and make me feel good. But part of life is solving those problems. Part of life is working through those negative emotions, because we have both positive and negative. And so the reason I felt so disconnected, number one, to God and to myself, is because I wasn't all in, right? I was just all in like when it felt good or when I needed it or when there needed to be a fix. But in the times where I did feel good, I wasn't focused on Him. I was, I don't know, focused on the outside world, focused on myself, right? To bring me that joy, focused on vices to bring me that joy, focused on other people to bring me that joy. And that's not other people's jobs. It is not your job to bring me joy. And I should not expect that from you. And this is why relationships can feel so hard and heavy. If you've ever gone into a relationship, whether it's your spouse or your whether it's your spouse or whether it's your kids or a friend, expecting that something out of them, that's not fair, right? It's not their job to make you think or feel a certain way. You get to do that. Now, there are certain people that help you, become your best self, and that is the point. But that all-in energy for yourself first, for God first, and then yourself is just the most beautiful thing that can happen. So the verse I wanted to share with you today, and this like hit me. I was like, oh my gosh. It was 2 Chronicles 6, chapter 16, verse 9. For the eyes of the Lord range throughout the earth to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed to him. Oh my gosh. I was just like, whoa, I have never heard that verse before. I'm not someone who's like very I don't know the Bible well, and I'm learning it. And it's like my mind is blown every single time. And this verse really tells us that God is not sitting back waiting for us to beg for help. He's not doing that. He's like, oh, who's begging for me right now? Who's like in desperation, right? He is actively all the time scanning the earth. He's actively looking. He's actively searching for hearts that are ready, that are willing, that surrender to him, that are committed to him. He loves you whether you do these things or not. But you have a choice to be ready. Have your heart ready always, right? Like that's what the Bible tells us, is like the night is coming. Like be ready always. Be prepared. Don't just like kind of like if you know that maybe you have a terminal illness, right? Like you get diagnosed with a terminal illness tomorrow. Like what would you do with your life? And he's telling us like, don't wait for that diagnosis. You live your life with that joy and that love and that all-in energy now. You run your business with that joy and that love and that excitement and that all-in energy now. That's not saying there won't be hard times. That's not saying there won't be circumstances or situations that are going to test you and help you grow, right? But like he's actively scanning. He's looking. He's searching. He's looking for hearts that are ready and willing to surrender and be committed to him. Why does he do this? Why is he always watching? Why is he always scanning? So that he can strengthen you. He wants to strengthen you, not judge you, not test you, not compare you, right? I hear some people say like, oh, like God's just testing me. Like God loves you and he wants the best for you. And he's not trying to do that. He's looking to strengthen you. And so I want you to shift that perspective, because God is like, thinks it's really fun when you're committed, right? Could you imagine being in a relationship where they're like, oh, let me just like sometimes show up as my best self, but not all the time. It's like, I'm just not all in. Or like you dip your toe in the water, right? Same thing with your business. Like, are you all in? And I'm not saying you like throw yourself all in and you're working 90 hours a week, because maybe you are doing this and then you're all into the wrong thing, right? You need some help, some support with that to get out of that burnout and exhaustion. But like, think of anyone you've ever been in a relationship, whether it's a friend or your child or your, like someone else, and they're just like, it just doesn't feel like they're fully committed. And I'm sure you've shown up in relationships like that too. But God is attracted to that commitment, and he pours power into devotion. He responds, I am all in, with supernatural strength. So many of us live with toe dipper faith. So many of us dip our toes in relationships, in friendships, in organizations, right? Like that's what people ask me to join a lot of organizations. And I'm very intentional. Not that I don't want to join your organization or do this thing, but like, I want to go all in. And that's my energy, right? Like being spread too thin is really hard, but God will give you the energy. Every day my husband's like, where do you get your energy from? People ask me this all the time. I had someone ask me this at the end of my growth pitch yesterday. They're like, have you always been this like energetic? And God gives me that energy, and that energy has shifted so beautifully over the years to who and what I am today. But we often dip our toe in the water of trust, in surrender, in obedience, right? Have you ever like started something, like been like, I want to do this for myself, and then a few days later you fall off, right? I call those women or people, right, Monday morning starters, right? And I've done this hundreds of times. That's why I know it so well. Like, right, on a weekend you might be like feeling sorry for yourself, or for me it was like I would indulge in alcohol. And so on Sunday, I'm like, never again. I don't know how many times my husband told me this. He's like, quit saying that. Like, you've said that so many times. Like, he didn't believe me. Right. But I'm like, I'm never drinking again. And tomorrow I'm just going to do better. And I'm going to like start working out, and I'm going to eat healthy, and I'm never going to drink it. Like all these things. Right. And then by like Monday at 10 a.m., I'm eating chocolate, and I've not been obedient to what I said I was going to do. And so trusting in the Lord is hard. It takes work. Trusting in yourself can be hard. It takes work. You have to get uncomfortable, right? Saying no to things that are going to give us immediate comfort. Alcohol, food, like not doing your work to watch Netflix, right? Those are dopamine hits. Those are things that make us feel good right now. Things in our business, right, that we might be avoiding, right? But how can we step into a challenge knowing that God's got our back, knowing that we have our own back, knowing that we're all in? Because so often we wait for reassurance before we jump into something, or we want clarity before we fully commit, or we want proof before we trust. That's not how it works. If you're waiting for that, or if you're needing reassurance or having to have clarity, you're going to be stuck in perfection. You're going to be a slow decision maker. You're going to then probably have imposter syndrome because someone else is like in this different space and level that you're like, oh my gosh, like I wanted that. Well, you didn't do it. You were waiting, right? You were wanting or needing something else before moving, before trusting, right? But God really just says, give me your whole heart, and then I will strengthen you. Not the other way around, right? Like he strengthens us because we surrender fully to him, because we give ourselves fully to him. So give him your whole heart. Give yourself your whole heart. Give relationships your whole heart, knowing that no one on this earth can take from you. Right? Like it can take your thoughts. I know there are hard things that happen. I know there are people who have terrible, horrible intentions and do things that hurt people. But in your heart, like no one can take this love in your heart. And it might feel like it. It might, you might have had it happen. Right? But like it's that rebuilding, that trust, that continual like strengthening that happens your whole life. This is not just a one and done, you guys. And that was something I was really pissed about for a long time. It's like, why do I have to keep working out when I'm in the best shape of my life? Why do I have to keep praying when my life feels really, really good? Right? And so it's something that we get to keep working on. There's no other way around it. You can, go ahead, try, like do other things. I encourage you to do whatever you think. But like what I've found in all my years is like when I trust in him, that's when the magic happens. And strength really follows that surrender. Surrendering is hard, especially if you're a perfectionist, especially if you care about things. I know you do. But it's a choice, and we get to show up every day. So strength follows surrender, support follows commitment, and clarity follows obedience. So this week he's been showing me if I want God to be all in for me, I have to be all in for him, right? Again, think about those relationships where the other person hasn't been all in, or you haven't been all in. Like, did it feel good in the end? Was that fun? Or were there just a bunch of expectations and like needing from other people, right? He doesn't ask us to be perfect or flawless. I am not perfect. I am not flawless. And he doesn't ask us to say, don't ever doubt me. We're humans, right? We have sin. And so there's doubt. He just wants you to be committed. And even in relationships, when we're fully committed, we still make mistakes. You're human. You still make mistakes. But it's a heart fully turned toward him. And that's what he strengthens. That's when he strengthens. So I'm curious, what in your life or your business or your relationships have you been toe dipping in? Just like, nah, just a little bit. Just like dabble. And I'm curious, where is God asking you to go all in? And what would shift? I'm going to ask you a few questions here. What would shift if you trusted him with everything, not just an emergency or when something bad happened? And then what would happen? What would shift if like you could just visualize, like, what is that thing that maybe you're like toe dipping in? You're just not sure, right? And you went all in. What would happen? What would happen? And what's the worst that could happen? I like to ask that question too, because a lot of times we, as humans, we prefer safety. So we want to protect ourselves. So I was thinking like, oh my gosh, well, this could happen, right? So I'd like for you to just pause for a second. And if you can, close your eyes, maybe put your hands on your heart. And as I pray, Lord, thank you for searching for our hearts. You are always searching. That's amazing. Thank you for searching, for looking for every place where you can strengthen us, for meeting us with love when we turn towards you. Teach us, Lord, to be all in, to show us where we're holding back, to give us the courage to surrender fully, to trust fully, to commit fully. Lord, strengthen every woman listening today. Pour power into her devotion, meet her in her commitments, and remind her that you are already all in for her. Amen. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. As you step into your day, may you walk knowing this. God is searching the earth, and he stops when he finds your heart. So go in today strengthened, supported, and seen through the lens of love. Love you guys.